COVID affect your work here at AMP?
Well, I think in one part, I mean, our work didn't change. We were an essential business through this period, and we were providing access to people to their investments and their money. So the work itself didn't change. It was just the how we did that work and how we had to work together. And I think, we were heading down a path of being, of rolling out new technology. And as I said before, that just forced us into a do it now and get on with it rather than spend a whole bunch of time planning. So for us, that was about really how do we get access to our systems, how do we provide clients access to us, through rolling out new telephony and those sorts of things, and how do we use new collaboration tools, which maybe people would have been a bit challenged in, or thought about, whether they wanted to adopt them. The answer was they just had to pick those up, and I think that's been, a real lesson in adoption of new technology.
Completely, and a lot more flexibility for your staff members as well.
Right? Absolutely. So we did some work with our staff and said, where would you prefer to work? So you were forced to work at home during lockdown, but where would you prefer to work? Over 70% of people said they would prefer to spend more time working at home, or a mix of working at home or in the office. For us, that led to us, basically, announcing to everybody that we were going to, vacate our office here in the CBD, look for, smaller, collaboration type space, as our people just got way more benefit out of working from home. So it's been a real change.
And productivity still stayed up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I think, it's it forces people to think about how they lead. But we've certainly seen, our people being really engaged in that process and continue to deliver great work along the way.
That's awesome. Are you able to explain the story of the mother that was working here?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so I think one of the, there's many cool stories about how our change to our, we call it WeFlex, how our WeFlex environment has worked for people. But, one of the stories we had was, one of our people, she lives quite a long way from the office. She would have to be up early in the morning, wouldn't see her kids in the morning, in order to make the commute to work. Would spend a whole day at work and then commute home, miss bath time and those sorts of things. And so basically spent all that time away from her family. And by working from home, she just regained all that commute time and was able to put that into, living her best life really with her family and making sure that work and family work together rather than being, a slave to the urban Auckland commute, which is pretty challenging for a lot of people.
And that can only benefit your mental health, can't it?
Totally.
It'd be amazing.
I think that's what we've seen for, a lot of people, that some of those, commute and family stresses, have just been taken out of their life, which is a great thing. Because as you say, it can only be beneficial for people.
Especially coming into the CBD with the roadworks.
Oh, absolutely.
It's all over the show.
I saw something today, 63 individual projects around Auckland.
Are you serious?
And that is just
in Auckland.
Just
as
in
well.
Auckland, and
we need to be able to fly, don't we? That would make things easier.
Mad, right? Mad.
So, Jeff, how would you say the corporate world has changed through 2020? It's been a very interesting year.
It's been a really interesting year, and I think, for all corporates or for all businesses, it's been an opportunity to think about how you operate and forced on you in terms of, change in your business. So, I think as you look out, you think about where we work, and that's gone through a massive and fundamental change. And I think, it's forced everybody to rethink, their views on what you can and can't do, from the office or at home. And I think that can only benefit, all of us and all of our people going forward. So I think that's been a massive change. I think the way we use technology and the way we think about technology has changed massively. Whereas previously you might have taken 6 months to get something done. You were forced really quickly to get it done in, 2 to 3 weeks. And I think that sort of changed everybody's views on what's possible and what's not possible. And I think that's something that's here to stay for all of us in terms of that. And clearly we've had a massive focus on how we think about, the mental well-being of our clients, the mental well-being of our people. And how we help everybody get through what's been, a pretty tough time.
for all of us.
For all of us,
yeah,
totally.
Completely.
So-
Awesome. Mental health's been a huge issue through lockdown for many people in terms of isolation, loneliness.
Yeah.
What have you guys done as a workplace to kind of support your staff through that?
So I think, I'm really proud of the efforts that we've made, on the mental health piece, because it is working from home, on your own, with the pressures and stresses that creates as well. So I think one of the things is that creates, its own stresses if you're at home with your family and those sorts of things, trying to figure out how to make that work.
Distractions as well.
Exactly, creates its own challenge. So I think we've probably tried to tackle it, 3 different ways really. So one, as a business, what tools and support have we got in place, for our people? So I think, from, online sessions with, we had Dr. Paul Wood come and talk about resilience and how that works, and so,
Awesome.
Sessions with him through our workplace, our workplace live channel, which has been really good. Support from our employee assistance program providers. So, one, providing, support and counselling and those sorts of things, but also, letting people know that this is standard and common, in lots of businesses and lots of people. So I think that's been good. We've taken that and created our own sort of knowledge base of tools and tricks that we can use, around the place. 2, I think what we've tried to do is create a really collaborative and sharing environment, around the business. So, we've had all of us as an exec team have talked to, what are we doing to manage our own mental health and stress, and I think there's been learning and all that.
It's that role modelling aspect as well, isn't it?
Well, I think it's about saying to everybody that we're all struggling at various times, and it's not, because you're in a certain role that you're, you've got all this handled. For all of us, it's about trying to make sure we look after our own mental health and share the things that work for us so that they might work for other people.
Completely. We're big believers at Voices of Hope that, when someone shares their story or their tools, it does provide other people with that sense of comfort and ability to come and say, hey, look, I'm really struggling, can I talk to you? Or, what helped you? Can it maybe help me?
Yeah.
So I think it's such an important thing, and role modelling that in your company is just amazing. I'm in awe of you guys.
It's good. And the third piece is, I think our people have been really well connected to each other, and I think so, I think we've got some platforms and some environments that allow people to be really connected, and I think they've done a great job in doing that, and, sharing, as I say, some of their own tips and tricks, or, just sharing light and casual moments with people, which is what, you miss when you're not in the office.
Completely. I think human connection is such an important thing, and something that we're missing a lot as society, especially with our phones and social media coming in between that. My grandma growing up, she was like, oh yeah, we knew our neighbours, we'd go borrow sugar from them, and you just don't see that as much anymore. And so having that sense of community, I guess, and connection within the office will make such a difference. And because, your staff can't pour for an empty cup, they have to be on their best form to be able to help other people to the best of their ability.
Absolutely. I think that's that's been really important.
That's awesome. What are the most important things you've learned as a company this year?
I think, the adaptability piece is key, and it's key for me. I look at it constantly and think, you've got to continue to adapt. So I think that's been, a great learning. I think we've gone through a real change in, not a change in leadership, but a change in leadership approach. So I think we've all had particular views, and people have had particular views of, how you lead people and, how you manage people. And I think with everybody working from home, you've been forced into a new way of doing things, because that whole presenteeism conversation doesn't exist anymore. So you've got to make sure all the things that we knew were really important from a leadership perspective, about making sure people had clarity on where we would do it, where we were going, and set clear goals and those sorts of things, are really sharply into focus in a distributed work environment. And I think that's probably been a real lesson in leadership for all of us in terms of where it is. And I think, making sure that we are thinking about each and every one of our people and understanding what they're going through and how we can help, provide help, guidance, support in what's been a really challenging year, I think has heightened that that view for all of us in terms of looking after your own and everybody else's mental health.
Completely.
You've got to look after yourself at the same time.
Completely. Awesome. See, what would your advice be to other companies? You've probably covered it. Be adaptable.
Yeah, we'll be adaptive. Yeah. Look, I think my view goes, nobody's got this right, right? And I think for all of us as businesses, it's about, partnering with people, sharing expertise, trying to understand how together, can we learn, and grow. And I think, if you think about, the conversations we have with you guys and Voices of Hope is how can we leverage your expertise to help the mental health of our people? How can we leverage and share? And I think we're all going through the same stuff together. So let's think about how we can do that. And I think for businesses thinking about the mental well-being of their people, talking to you guys about how they can help, how you can help, and how they can be part of the the Voices of Hope movement. Yeah, exactly. I think is super really beneficial for people, and I'd really encourage people to to get on board.
So what was the response to change from the staff?
I think our staff have been phenomenal through this period. So, one, their ability to adapt to new technology. Yep. I think that's been great. Their ability to think about how they work and continue to deliver productively through that period. I think that's always the question people ask me is about productivity, and I think we've seen that stuff continue to to be really good. And in fact, lots of people would talk to being more productive, through the lack of the commute and those sorts of things, and really being here to help our clients has been key. And what we've seen is everybody trying to help everybody else. Yep. And I think internally what's been great to see is how our people are trying to help each other to get through what's been a challenging time.
You've almost become more resilient and stronger together, haven't you?
Yeah, well, I think it's forced people to think about how they collaborate, and forced people to maybe share and care a little bit more along the way, which is awesome.
Which is awesome. Yeah. A bonus from this crazy year.
Absolutely. And we just got a recent survey back that says, I think the numbers are 99% of people are really happy with the new flexible working arrangements and want to continue working that way. So I think
it's enough evidence to do so.
Well, absolutely. And it was one of those questions that says, is that a temporary thing or something that lasts for longer? So we've been in this flexible environment now for a good 6 to 9 months, and so people are used to it and they understand how that works and starting to really shape their work lives around it, which is great.
I think it's incredible how many people did adapt to the situation. It was so kind of sudden out of the blue, and there's been a lot of resilience shown, and people just kind of carrying on because they have to and just finding new ways to go about it, which is awesome.
Totally. I think adaptability is the new oil of business. So if you're adaptable, then you've got opportunities to change in the face of what's a continuing changing environment. So I think that's been a real learning for all of us.
And this year's just proven that you don't really know what's coming, do you?
That's right.
So,
That's right.
Adaptivity, I love that. So, Jeff, how would you say the corporate world has changed through 2020? It's been a very interesting year.
It's been a really interesting year. And I think, for all corporates or for all businesses, it's been an opportunity to think about how you operate and forced on you in terms of, change in your business. So, I think as you look out, you think about where we work, and that's gone through a massive and fundamental change. And I think, it's forced everybody to rethink, their views on what you can and can't do, from the office or at home. And I think that can only benefit, all of us and all of our people going forward. So I think that's been a massive change. I think the way we use technology and the way we think about technology has changed massively. Whereas previously you might have taken 6 months to get something done. You were forced really quickly to get it done in, 2 to 3 weeks. And I think that sort of changed everybody's views on what's possible and what's not possible. And I think that's something that's here to stay for all of us in terms of that. And clearly we've had a massive focus on how we think about the mental well-being of our clients, the mental well-being of our people. and how we help everybody get through what's been, a pretty tough time.
For all of us.
For all of us,
Yeah,
totally.
completely.
So-
Awesome.